this tutorial we're going to cover the short lead riff from Pride. You can go back to what I think is part 2. No, part 1 is a cover, part 2 is a cover, part 3 I believe, where I start the tutorial and I go through my preset settings and I just show you what my tone is like for this. So I'm not going to go through the details of those settings here. You can go back to the part 3 tutorial, and you can also see one of the tutorials will be a screenshot of my fractal audio presets, and you'll see the changes I make for this tone. But essentially it's just adding some drive. We're going to go for the Slane version first, and then I'm going to go over the Paris version. The Paris version has some harmonics in it that a lot of people like to play. I like it too. Again, you can change it up. But in the more modern, newer versions, Edge doesn't play the harmonics very often. It's a pretty straightforward, simple riff. You got to get the timing right with the delay, and you got to be quick. Actually, what you got to be quick on with the fingers is taking your fingers off the string as opposed to getting them on. I found that to be harder than I thought, but it's a very simple riff. I have no delay here. It's on the B and the E string. A lot of people think it's just the E string. Really simple, but there's a subtlety. Edge is using a drone note here. You want to hit the open B string and the E at the beginning. When you hit the first note, hit the open B. If you listen to the Pride versions very carefully, he's hitting that drone note and it really fills out the tone a lot more. So it's not just the E string. But you are going to be on the E, and it's going to be, I'm in E flat by the way, I'm tuned down half step. So we're on 11, 12, okay, and 14. It's 11, 12, 14, 11, 12, 14, 11, 12, 14, 11, 12, 14. I believe he does it around 4 times in the newer, more modern version. So you have one, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times. Okay. And I'm doing up. I'm doing down up. You're gonna to pick this quickly enough, you're gonna have to do up down strokes on this. Okay. Okay, and this takes some practice because when you go, you gotta lift and get to this one quickly. So don't let this middle finger here on the 12th drag. Otherwise, you'll get that, or you'll get a muffled note. So you got to get the hand off of the fretboard very quickly. See right there, you heard a muffled note because I didn't hit it on time. So you got to coordinate the picking back here with hitting these strings at the right time. But it is essentially four times, but on the first one, hit the drone note. So you get, it just doesn't come out right up here. Okay, now it should be up and down. Hard to play up here. But that's the key. At the beginning of each riff, hit the B open string. So we get this. All right. And then let it hold a little bit and let the delay do the work for you at the end of the 4 riffs. And you speed up to whatever your tempo is, right? But that's the really simple riff that Edge is playing in the Vertigo version, I think Slane version also. Now, he does some subtle things once in a while here that I admit I haven't completely figured out, but right on the 4th version, sometimes he doesn't pause and he keeps going, and he's just adding another note, or he's basically doing it, or he's leaving off a note at the end to do the transition into the main riff. So I don't want to claim that it's exactly just the 4 notes perfectly every time. If you listen, sometimes he speeds up into the 4th one I think, and just adds a note, something like this. So he's sometimes messing with the timing a little bit and changing it up just a little bit, but I haven't quite mastered that. I just wanted to point that out. But in general, that you can just get away with doing that 4 times. Now we turn on the delays that I just discussed in the part 3, I think, or my first tutorial after the cover, and where I went through delay settings, and I turn on the drive that I like for this, because he boosted it. I used an SD1 drive. I probably used a little too much, but that's okay. It's just preference. And then you play this riff. See a little more modulation in there, a little more delay, more repeats, and you get. Now there was a miss there because I wasn't on the timing right, notice. So with this setup, again, you get the following. Okay, and you can always skip that pause and then go into the main riff. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. One way to practice this is to start very slow and build up over time. The timing, to make sure you hit everything, hit the note clearly, takes some time. So. Okay, turn off the delay. Do it that slow. Hit that drone note at the beginning. And then speed up. So you got to build that up, take your time, up, down, and build your timing on that. One more time on the lead. Here's what it sounds like. And then go into the main riff. And that's the version for the newer, more modern versions, Slane, Vertigo, etc. I think the 360 Tour also. If we go to the Paris version, it's a little different. There's definitely less drive. It's pretty much just clean tone. So we'll turn off my higher drive, and he doesn't use the third delay. It was just the basic delay from the, maybe he boosted it, but it's the same delay setting essentially as the rest of the song. Okay. So I've just got my standard preset here now. And again, you could boost it for volume purposes for the delay. And on Paris, what he does is he adds some harmonics. So let's go through those harmonics. And he only plays the riff 3 times. So instead of playing it that riff 4 times in a row, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're only going to play it 3 times, and then you're going to do some harmonics. So it's going to be. Okay. A couple notes there, but you get the idea. So let's turn off the delay and play that. So it's the same thing. You're doing the drone note on the B, and then the same thing, but only 3 times. And then you're going to do the harmonics. So, and then it's, and what he's doing. This is from the Paris version. He's doing B, harmonic, B, it's all in the 12th fret, B and the E string. You're going to start with the B string. B, E, B, E, B. It's 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's okay. That's all there is to it. That's what he does in the old Paris version. So you have the following. And it's a little tough. You got to speed that up nice and slow, and it's got to get that timing right. And got to make sure you lift the fingers as fast as you get them on. And that's the older version. He doesn't do that, I think, that often anymore. So there's the 2 lead versions for you. Pretty simple riff. Make sure you hit that B drone note, and then you can determine if you want to play the riff a 4th time in the segment or play the harmonics instead. The harmonics are better for when you have a cleaner tone and when you have more grit and more boost and more delay. It's better to not play the harmonics. It won't come out quite as nice. And you heard the Paris version in the previous clip I did on the previous tutorial. It was a much cleaner tone than in the Slane version. So there's the lead. After the lead, he goes back into the riff. And then we move toward the end of the song, and I'll show you some muted strumming that he does. We'll do that in the next part.